independent startup that is my car fulfillment, which their business is the one-stop warehouse for e-commerce to share about UI, UX design and startup culture. So before we begin the section, I would like to invite Mr. Navarat Sukhumpanumet, partner of my car fulfillment. Please give him a warm welcome.
Hello. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Bangkok. I hope you enjoy your stay. So this afternoon, we're going to talk a bit about UI UX design and our process at our company. So let's at first introduce ourselves. My name is Bright. And Bright, yes. Yeah, and this is Niti, who should be here anytime. We are the partners at My Cloud Fulfillment, and our team back there, Nesai and Vadi, are our designer. So yeah, so our company provide fulfillment service for e-commerce and online retailers. Even though we are in the warehouse logistic business, we have to deal a lot with UI and UX design. So for the modern businesses, there's no way that you can hide away from the UX design. You have to be concerned about it. You have to think about it and decide to make your product competitive in the modern business. So let's first start with the definition of the UI UX and why it is separated by a big slash here, and why some people say they should not be separated at all. Before we can answer that question, we need to understand the definition of each word. But the definition here vary depending on whom you ask. So let's look at some of the examples. Mr. Ken Norton from Google said UX is focused on users' journey to solve problem. UI is focused on how a product surface look and function. Okay. Mr. Jason Ogle defined it as UI is a bridge that gets us to where we want to go, but UX is the feeling that we get when we are alive. Another one from Google said that UI is focused on the product, a series of snapshots in time. UX focuses on the user and their journey to the product. So some people, this guy basically say that they are not comparable at all and cannot be separated. As in, like, for example, like penning, like red pen, there's no way that you can tell the difference between the pen and the chemicals, like the pigments part of the pen. So the question is what the pen is made of, like how can you separate the two? It's like, it cannot be answered. So there is no difference between UI and UX. So you can see the definition vary depending on whom you ask, but the main theme we get from here is that the UX is a thought process, while the UI is a reflection, like the thought process, like everything under the water, but UI is a reflection of that process. It's the reflection to create something tangible. It's the thing that makes any of the products useful and usable and valuable. So if people use it and people derive value from it, then that means that value also come back to your creator and your business, your startup. And to begin any product design venture, it is important to know who are you going to design for, and when and how they're going to use this product. So we have 3 elements here. The first one that I mentioned about is human elements. But before we can get to know the human elements, we need to get information first. And to get information, knowing our customer and they will use the product will help us prioritize and focus our feature and decide that create the most impact to our customer. For example, if you want to sell a headphone, and you can design a really sleek, high sound quality pair of headphone. But if your customer are children, like a very small children, you're probably not going to sell well. You probably better sell it if you decide like dinosaur shape or rocket shape and something like that. So the most important thing is that you need to know your customer first. But even before you need to know your customer, you have to define your desired outcome first. And here is the very foundation question, the number zero question that we're going to have to answer first. Why are we doing this? What is the reason for this product, a future of your startup that needs to access? What problem does it solve for you and for your user? And I suppose because you are doing a startup, I suppose you all have the answer in your mind already. If not, you can take a few minutes with your team to write it down on the first page. Suppose every team have this one, right? Right. Okay. So can anyone give me an example, like why your startup are doing the business here? Oh, that's all right. You can get back to it later. Okay, after the foundation question, we have to answer what's worth doing, because as you start asking the previous question, you will begin to research into your business and hope to what the business to hope to accomplish along with what the user needs, and you will come up with a long list of possible features and function. The list will go on and on and on. You have to prioritize. You have to pick the most important thing from your list. There will be no shortage of idea, I can assure you. But as you create a list, you also have to evaluate it and ask what is actually worth your time and your effort in developing the features. So here, this graph, the graph that you're looking at illustrates the relationship between two things. For the first one, on your left, you have the importance. It's how important the product as a whole to the business, to user, to achieving the intended end goal of the user. The next one is on the bottom, represent the feasibility and viability, like how hard for your team to create the product, to develop the product. And what we can actually prove off in the time is that we have to allocate the budget and the resource, and the resource meaning you people, like management, your team, your technical people. So if you know that your proposed feature is a low importance for your customer, and it's highly unlikely that you can do it at all. Like it's very hard to do and like have a very low benefit to your customer. Then you have to do one of the two things. First, if you're already working on it, you should postpone it, any improvement on it, like indefinitely. You should do something else first. But if you are planning to develop a new product, then you should drop it, like just drop it right now and work on something later. The feature that fall in the middle, the medium gray area, is that should probably be accommodated. You should not, but you still should not spend majority of your time doing any of the work. Here, like anything that land here is less likely to be critical for both user and the business, and it's also like you got some doubts. You probably have some doubts with yourself that whether you can actually prove them off the first place or not. So this thing, despite your perfectionist tendency with all designers and developers think they simply don't have to be the best they can be. So you don't actually have to do everything that you put on this one, but you need to be able to focus on the most important thing first. So anything that falls in the top right area, like the most dark one, you see it as the name is include or die. So basically, it's like very important and very high feasibility. That you mean that you're damn sure that it's important that you can do it right. So but again, so everything that falls into the top right corner can be quite dangerous, because it's going to be very something that important and easy to do. It means that some people probably have done it in the past. So you need to be careful and do your research and take a look at the market before you decide to go on. So most of the time, like the startup just go for the middle one. But if you can find something that's easy to do and very benefit to your user, but no one else is doing it, just go for it. So here we can do a little bit of workshop. So I would like you to come up with your business opportunity, your feature of your current products, or maybe your new business idea with your team, and come up with maybe just 10 of the opportunities or 5 to 10 of the opportunities. So, and you have to give the importance scale 1 to 5, and important and feasibility scale of 1 to 5. And the number in total here cannot be more than 3 times the number of opportunities. So for example, like if you have 5 opportunities, you cannot have the total score more than 15. So why don't you take a little bit like 20 minutes or so working with your teammate. You can answer the question 0 and question 1 as well. So I got some question about the importance and feasibility. So important is that in the how how important is it to your customer, how benefit of your product is to customer. So 5 is the highest. The number higher, the number higher the better. Feasibility is how easy to do it. So 5 is the most easiest thing to do for you with your resource, and 1 is the hardest. So for the opportunity, for example, for our company, my cloud fulfillment. So our customer are the shops that they sell stuff online. They probably sell on like on a website or on some marketplaces like Lazada, Shopee, and um, so when they sell stuff online, they have to send the order that they can sell to our fulfillment center. So it's very important that we can develop the API to access those information directly. And that's the most important thing that we need to do. So it's going to be 5 for us, but it's going to be very hard as well because there are going to be a lot of technical aspect and a lot of security aspect. The feasibility is going to be 2 for us.
So are you guys clear with the explanation? Right. So think about the customer first. So the pain point of customer is once they sell the products. So then the pain is how to manage such order from the customer, right? Or otherwise, all those sellers have to manage by themselves. You know, get the products, pack the products, go to the post service, and then post service, you know, ship to the customer. So it takes times, effort, energy of customers. So then my cloud fulfillment just jump in from the selling point. So once the product is sold, the rest is my cloud fulfillment task. So then the customer can spend much more time on marketing, on seeking more product and service varieties to offer to the customer. So then what do they need to do is to plug in, right? Plug in my cloud fulfillment to all those e-commerce platform. So then the orders will goes directly to my cloud fulfillment. So then they can do their tasks, complete their tasks. right? To link the, the gap between logistic tasks and the marketing task seamlessly. So think about the customer experience or user experience. That's why we have to develop API to bridge the gap between the platform and my cloud service. So by this case, importance to customer, yes, 5. Because it's enhanced the user experience, right? But in terms of implementations, since what he mentioned, so he have to deal with like lots of technical stuff, security. So the score would be 2 out of 5 because it's kind of involves some sort of difficulty in implementing, such development of API, for example. So you guys complete? Yeah? Need more 5 minutes? Then we're going to start to share from your perspective.
Excuse me. So there was some confusion on how to calculate a score. So let's look at an example here. So we have 5 opportunities. So the number of the total available points for each importance and feasibility is 15, right? But here, I have total number of total points for importance as 23, which is higher than the available points. So I need to drop some. I need to pick which one is more important to customer. So if I think this one is more important, I just drop this one to 4, maybe this one to 3. So the reason is that I don't want every feature that you come up with to like to stay on this one. Yes. It's calculated separately for important and for feasibility as well.
I think the rationale behind is to prevent your bias. Okay. Your bias. You think about once you come up with an idea, I think you somehow, if you prefer, you prefer particular opportunity or particular features, you overrate the score for such things. So that's why this is the limitation. If it's beyond, so you have to readjust the rating score to ensure that the score that you have given is close to the real. A microphone. Where's the microphone?
Imagine if I list 10 opportunities, then
Yes.
I will have to list down the 10 different scores in the important rights. So
No,
the
you
make-
don't. You don't need to be different score. You can be 1, 1, 1, 1, 5, 5, 5, 5.
okay, but the maximum scores of the important is 15, isn't it?
Say again.
I want to know how much how much is the maximum score of importance? Is it 15 or more?
How many opportunities do you have?
10.
10. This means 30.
It means
Right.
30.
Yeah,
That's
three times number of opportunities. If you have 10 in the list, is it?
Yep.
So time 3.
Yes.
So let's make 30.
Okay.
That's the maximum that you can get.
How about the feasibilities? The same. Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Hello. I just want to know the equation, how it's come from, related to the graph.
There's no actually. There's no real reason behind it. I just wanted the opportunity to be diverse, dispersed on the graph. So, yes, and
You take a look into the illustration on your right hand side.
Yes.
So if you overrate, the thing is if you overrate, so all opportunities will be screwed toward to the upper right.
Okay.
Since you bias yourself when you give the score ratings in each opportunities, you get the point. You get my point. That's why we have to readjust the score.
Okay.
Make
Thank you.
sure it is scattered
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
illustration. The thing is, take a look. Suppose all opportunities, if all of your opportunities are clustered in upper right, what's going to happen? First, I think you're biased. So that means every single opportunity have to be implemented within a certain time frame and limited resources. I think it's impossible. That's why you have to scatter the opportunities. So you ready? Yeah? Okay. Let's randomly select some of the teams to show how you thought about it, okay? Need volunteers, okay. Which one? Which team? Okay. Who's going first? Nope. Okay, good. From Cambodia. Okay, everyone, welcome him.
Okay, I go. Sorry, go in front or
Stand up, please, or you can stand up on the, yeah, on the front here, front area.
Can you talk a bit about your company first and what the first one, the question zero?
okay. Okay, I have two different.
That's all right. Maybe just introduction about your startup.
The introduction about our startup, we are creating a e-commerce, but a hybrid platform or social networks. So we do both digital market and community at the same time.
Okay.
So let's go deep down into the comparative analysis. Our opportunity or features, the first one I'm going to pick is AI, machine learning. The machine learning, I score the important is 5, and the feasibility will be 4.
4. So you're
Yes.
the expert.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And we give them even the free inventory control as well. It will be
Okay.
3 important and 4 feasibility. And then we have a new fit with the user behavior. Because we have an AI to track your behavior when you go into our application, so our new feeds will follow with your behavior as well. Our important is 5 and feasibility is 4. And then we also have online payment with Visa cards or maybe it's wallet as well. And moreover, we are going to the DevOps, including KH or a lot of things about technologies. Important is 4 and feasibility also 4. And on the 6th point, we have a business intelligence, which we
Okay.
gather your information and we are going to provide you the right information or the right products based on your behaviors or based on what your shopping experience. It seems like if you are looking for the clothes, we are going to appear use the clothes on your feed. Maybe it's the color that you are looking for. If you like green, you will always see a lot of green clothes on your new feed. And then we will propose our business intelligence will be at 4, really important, and the feasibility will be 3 because it will be hard for us to gather information and the analysis as well. And then we will have a map, Google Map, including this, not really important. So I just got 2, and the feasibility is 3. And then the struggling of online trades or online buying is the product is insecurities or it doesn't fit like what we order. So I list the important in 3, and the feasibility is 1 because it is hard for us to guarantee your products will be the right as you order. And the last feature we are going to update is mapping and video review on your product. The important is 0, but the feasibility is 3. That's all. Thank you.
So the maximum score that you get is
30 and 30.
30 and 30. Okay, it's equal.
Yes.
They're all equal. Okay.
Oh, that's
good.
awesome. Can you like map your feature, map your opportunity here that you think that you're going to select to focus on?
Okay.
Just a small, like maybe small name of it. Thank you so much. So here we can see that we can see that we can identify some of the features that we better work on that have very high benefit to our customers, and it's very feasible as well. So here, like Sphere, he picked some 4 features out of the 10 features that listed on here. I would like you to do the same and put it down on the next page, on the number 2. What are we creating? So why do we need to put it on to document it? Right? We live in an agile period. We don't need much documentation, right? But I think it's very important that we really like put it down to be specific on what you're trying to do, because everyone see the world differently, and even though in the meeting we agree on everything, we might interpret things differently. Like after the meeting, we thought, oh, I thought you said that, and so on, so on. So for my opinion, it's very good that you have it documented. And so agile practice doesn't mean you can't do documentation, but meaningful documentation help everyone understand the same thing. But documentation doesn't have to be formal. You just need to be absolutely sure that everyone understand and agree what we are about to create. So the next question is, what value does it provide? So this is a very big question, big and broad question, and very vague question as well, and difficult to answer. But the good news is that there are smaller questions that can help you answer. So the first one on this page, you can see you need to identify your target audience first. There's so many different things you can do to answer this question. You can imagine a persona of your customer, like female age 20 to 24, college graduate, and so on. And the next question is, what experience will be valuable or compelling to those people, those persona? And let's say this person sells stuff online to Lazada and Amazon and would like to see every order in one place. So our company, My Cloud Fulfillment, will develop like a dashboard or something to display every product that they listed on the marketplace. And the last question is, how will your offering be different from the other competitors? And this is just do a little bit of research. So the next one is, after we answer those 3 questions, we can continue by identifying the user needs. So first question for this one is, you got to ask question for of the people who will be using and what you decide to build, and those people will fall into 2 basic categories. The first one of those people are business to business user, like they use it further you know that they are responsible to doing during the day. So if you're creating time and attendance system, for example, like for your user employers who are required by the employee to fill our time a week, and you need to ask them what their process of thinking, not like what are you actually do for B2B user. So you understand what their business process. So if the product in question is directly target to end consumer, we are talking about a B2C, right? And the question for a B2C user are like just you got to be different. You're not going to ask them about their work life or work habit, and you you're gonna need to identify what user expect to be able to do with the product, and why are these things matter to them, and why are they using the product right now. So it's important that you first classify your user to be B2C and B2C, because the logic of that thinking are two different things. So after we understand their needs, and we want to identify that decision path. So they have the need, and we have the products offering, we have the product and service. We need to understand how they come up with making decision for each step. First, they probably want to get to know our product first, and then they will need to know more information to make a decision to the next step. So if you present all the information about your product at once, they're going to be very confused. It's going to be too complex to them to digest information. So you see here. So here, this is the first contact point with your customer, and then you present some of the some of the options, some of the information, and then after they select to know more information, you're going to present them more information about it. You're not going to present them everything at once. So this is very important for the UI UX design, and we call it progressive disclosure. For example, let's look at a simple example here. We have the app about ordering stuff online, and the delivery. You show the option about the shipping address, delivery, mobile number, contact point, or something. But for each of the option, you hide the option. You hide the additional information under the menu. So you're not going to present them everything here, but you're going to progressive disclose thing naturally from simple to complex. You don't want to overload people with everything. You want a little bit more, and then a little bit more, then a little bit more. So only the necessary or requested information by the user should be displayed at one time. All the information presenting to someone that they are not interested is a noise. It's just a noise in background. So doing progressive disclosure help people manage complexity without being too confused. Next, after we have established the, yes?
Can I have a question for
Sure.
the progressive disclosure?
Yes, please.
Okay, from the IT solution provider perspective, what if that progressive disclosure is in the reverse way? The client is disclosing their requirements progressively to us.
Oh,
How
I
will
think
you
it's good.
manage it?
Isn't that good for you, right? You just,
Yes.
yeah.
So I would like to get your advice. How will you manage it?
So you would like more information at once, or you think it's good that they doing the way they do?
From my point of view,
Yeah.
is not good for the system designers because we
Okay.
want to know everything first so that we can design it and then deliver the result progressively.
Also, like you need to ask them to get a little bit more about information, everything.
I would like to understand from your perspective, have you ever encountered such kind of situation?
For us, no, but for some people that, for example, like we work with some of the IT solution, and they come up to get the requirement from us. Yeah, we can see that we basically have no idea what to give them, what information to give them, right? Because we don't know what they need, and sometimes we don't even know whether we have those information. But for some IT vendor, they are very prepared. They're very formal. They have they do something like a sprint, and then they get information, and then they focus on one user story, one user path, and then they work on it, continue work on it as every week. And for every week, you identify the key person for your company, and then they're going to come up and talk to key person and to ask more about information. And the next week, we're going to prepare them those information. I'm not sure whether that helped you.
If that helps, thank you.
Thank you. So after we decide on the how you present the information. The next phase is to get the requirements. So it can be like business requirement, user requirements, technical requirements. So the first critical thing I want you to know about requirements upfront is that it cannot be gathered. So when you say that gathering requirements, basically it means that I'm going to go get a bunch of people in one room and then going to tell us what they need, and then I'm going to use what they tell us to develop a feature. But there is no requirement tree that you're going to go and pick up the fruit of requirement. So it's more about understanding what user need and what user be able to do with your product. So it's not about like asking what they want, but understand what they need from your product, the functionality, the content, the data. It's about having questions, not solutions. And again, you should document it to understand the same thing. And documentation again don't need to be formal. You just jot it down and then share it to every party. So this game is very interesting, but I think it's going to be quite hard to do it here, and because what we did with that one is that we list our feature ourselves, and then we give out the score ourselves. It can be biased, right? So what we need to do is to get additional information from the others. From the others. So the game is that you're going to sell them a feature. So basically, you create a list of your product feature, and then you assign the price to each feature, and you use the product and the price to create a card, and then you're going to try to sell this card to your teammate. Or to your coworker or something, and that why. And the price here is going to be according to how complex your feature is. Basically, your cost of developing the feature. And if we have some time at the end of the presentation, we probably go back and play the game. And here. Everything we have mentioned about is just trying to determine what we are doing and who we are doing for and why it's valuable to our products. So the next phase is to do sorting all the information that you're going to present to your customer, to your client, and we call it as information architecture, and the information architecture allow the flow of the website as a whole, and not only means that allow the flow of the information of the website. It's not only mean just the website. It means some other mediums, other content as well. So what do we do with the information architecture? First, we have to organize organizational structure from individual content to those page in the way that content is related to other pieces of the content. So it's basically how it is organized and how you prioritize your content to know what order of the importance in which it should be presented that match your client, your customer expectation in order to understand of how this stuff fit together. Next, next you have the labeling labeling system, which means you're calling it. People are going to recognize the system after they just take a glance on it. If you present all the information at once, it's going to be very hard for user to see what to recognize the items, recognize the term. So you need some way to tag and label it. So the next very important thing is the navigation and wayfinding. The navigation is basically your menu, how the user used to access information, like a drop down or something. We're going to talk a little bit about there's some model that you can come up with a menu to present your user the information depending on the medium that you use. And the last one is search, because right now, like information on the website is so huge, and it's got to be troublesome if the user have to navigate everything. So the four of the things, they together come up as the information architecture. It's just a framework for us to work on how you present the data to your customer. The information architecture is not just for mobile or for web development. It's bigger than that. There's plenty of examples that exist in the real world. So for example, when you are in a department store and you cannot figure out what particular product is, you might look for a sign or label on the aisle hanging from the ceiling or whatever it be, right on the target to see something like this. So even things like clearance or the sale, sign up like 70% off, that's the information architecture. So you are looking for department, the category that your item might be in. This is, I say, how easily and help you find. What you see is a measure of how well it works. So if you go to one department store and you cannot find anything, that's the bad information architecture. So let's look at some easy example from YouTube. You see a different kind of data, classify, you see the navigation here. You see the navigation here, you see the tagging here, you see the grouping your information as for example, like trending, and grouping like a recommendation, and they also have a search label. So this is one good example of good information architecture. So so after regrouping all the information, the next most important thing to do is to present the navigation to your user. So there's some model for you to choose from, depending on the content and depending on the medium. Sorry, 5 minutes. For break. Okay. For example, like the first one is for the website, like a news that provide, they just boom and show you all the information, provide multiple routes for a user to explore. It can be very link heavy and hard to accommodate on the smaller screen. Or you can have a totally opposite way of the first one, the nested list. So user just swipe or tap to reveal additional menus, which progressively present user more information and help people focus on the content within the individual section. It's very good for a very small screen, but difficult to browse because you have to go back way and you have to get into different section to get more information about it. And you might have hub and spoke. Basically, you have the central homepage, which is the lunch for every other separated section that totally separated from each other. This eliminates the need for global navigation on each screen. So it's best for task-based sites and apps. Or you can have something similar to the hub and spoke, but uh, but but present you more readily data. It's going to be a dashboard style app that pull the dynamic components or information from each separated module. The difference here is that this is just like showing the way to access those sections. Here you have some snapshot, some summary of the information from that section on your home page. So so most interactions occur in the context of single multi-purpose screen on a single page. So it's very useful when users need data aggregated from multiple sources. Or you can have a filter view, like deal with a single data set. Information can be explored from multiple views, and user can control views and sorting option. Or it doesn't have to be one model. It depends on the medium that you use. For example, like if you publish on website, it can be the first model, or which is very hard to navigate on your mobile phone. But for even for the same information, and if you access via mobile phone, it can be like a bento model, or it can be hub and spoke model. So after you plan on your information architecture navigation, there's one test that you might want to do. So it's by Stephen Cook. Don't Make Me Think. It's a very good book about UX, UI design. So basically, imagine that you buy food and you throw in the back of the car, the trunk of the car, and someone driving you around the city for an hour, then you dump off somewhere random in the city. So based on what you see around you, can you answer this question? Where am I? How did you get there? How can I do here? What can I do here? Where can I go from here? So if the test, you can test it with your friend. You just drop it on one of the page of your products, or just present them the products and see how can they navigate from the information that you provide them. If the test does, that means that the way that you plan all the information provides a very strong sense of place, set correct expectation, and allow user to predict the outcome of their interaction with your product. So let's take a break, and we come back 15 minutes. Thank you.